I'm giving myself 60 days to transform my body and feel better in it. So, welcome to episode 1. But before we jump into how I'm actually going to transform my body, let's talk about my background, my context, how I even got here. I've been on this journey for 8 months now, since last August of 2025. And I started it kind of out of necessity. At that point in time, I was burnt out at work. Work was really stressful. I was junk eating. I was emotional eating. I was stress eating. I was eating what I could grab. I wasn't working out anymore because I was so busy. Like life was just lifing. And I wasn't really balancing or managing my health, my wellness, my fitness with work. Once everything got settled down at work, I just felt like I really needed to focus on me again and really need to control what I'm consuming and like how I'm moving my body, things like that. So in August, I started with going back to some version of a normal. And I basically took that as a reset to just, work out, to get my steps in, not eat as much junk, and focus on a little bit at least, like what I'm actually consuming and how I'm moving my body. But it wasn't until actually November, my boyfriend decided to go on a keto diet. So that was how he was approaching it. He decided to do this on Thanksgiving, or no, the day after Thanksgiving. That's kind of when I first started to think about it. And I was kind of like warming up to the idea, I guess, in November. When December hit, I was all in. I did a 30-day lock in, and I was really focusing on approaching this in a sustainable way. Like, for example, the keto diet, I knew it wouldn't work for me. I just knew it wasn't sustainable. And I wanted something that was going to fit into my lifestyle, that wasn't going to starve me of what I enjoy from life. That could be from desserts or baking or how I like to move my body or whatever. Like, I just didn't want it to be in any extreme because I knew that I wouldn't be able to keep up with it. And I've done this cycle since college. I've been super, super strict on what I eat and what I consume, and I've lost tons of weight. I've done vegan for 30 days. I've done HIIT workouts since college. I just like, this is not new to me, this whole approach of health and wellness. But what's new is the sustainable approach. And I wanted this to be just a part of my life. I wanted to change my identity to the type of person who does this, not someone that tries and then fails, tries and then fails. I just wanted it to be me. So 30-day lock-in, I saw some progress in December. I was just focused on getting steps in, on making the best decisions when it came to nutrition. It didn't necessarily mean like best in that I was only eating salads every day, but I was managing the real-time decisions. So if, for example, I had a lot of work meetings in December and breakfast was provided, instead of going for the pastry, which I would have loved to have done, and I probably would have done in August or any other month, I opted not to go for the pastry and go for the yogurt with fruit and granola, like just the better version in the moment. There were moments, especially in December, where I did treat myself, if you will. Like I did have a dessert or a hot chocolate, or I made cinnamon rolls Christmas Eve. Again, that's going back to the idea of making this sustainable. And I didn't want to give up on everything. So I just focused on like 80-90% good choices throughout the day, the lesser of two evils, if you will. And then I also enjoyed what I wanted to. So I wasn't really restrictive in that way. And then I think I mentioned 10,000 steps, but that was a huge focus. But I just wanted to get my body moving regardless if I was working out or not. So at the bare minimum, I knew I could do 10,000 steps. And that could be, walking more at work or walking the walking pad here. That was just the bare minimum. And if I didn't feel like working out, I at least got my 10,000 steps in. I knew I could do that. So in December, that's when I started to do DEXA scans. So I did my first scan on the 19th, and I've been doing it consistently. I just did one today, so for the past 4 months or so. And I've seen some progress since December. And actually, I've been tracking my progress since August, just internally here at home with my weight or my scale. So actually, I'm going to walk through that first. So August of last year, I weighed 169.1. And then in December, I weighed 165.9. So I lost around 4 pounds-ish. And then from the end of December, so December 27th, I weighed 163.9 pounds. So I lost 2 pounds in December. So January 1, I weighed myself here at home. I weighed 163.3 pounds. And then April, I just weighed myself here at home. I weighed 156.3. So that's a nearly 13-pound difference. I think it's 12.8 to be exact. But 13 pounds in 8 months, was it? Like, that's a huge deal. I'm really proud of myself for doing that. I'm excited about my progress so far, and really, this is more so of a lifestyle change for me. Like, I want to make sure I'm not where I want to be. And to get there, I just need to, I think, keep doing what I'm doing and maybe fine tune some things like nutrition. Nutrition's always been the biggest challenge for me. All of that said, there are approximately 60 days until summer, and I want to feel like the most confident version of myself. And I hate to admit this, especially on the internet. I have not felt confident in a bathing suit since, oh gosh, maybe 10 years ago. Like, it's just a shame. I hate that I don't feel good in my body. And that's not necessarily a weight loss thing. I feel like obviously you can have great confidence regardless of how you look. It's more about the inner work than it is the outer work. For me, I want both. I want to look the best I've ever looked. I want to feel the best I've ever felt. I want to become a better, happier version, more confident, secure version of myself. And what better time than the 60 days between now and summer to do that? So now let's talk about the how. I'll start by saying that there are going to be no extremes. Like, I'm not trying to completely overhaul my diet and restrict certain food groups or things. That's just not realistic for me. So with that context in mind, like, that's like the fundamental thing that I'm carrying across how I approach this. On top of that, now we're going to look at the 3 areas that I'm going to be focusing on. So the first pillar is how I'm moving my body. The second pillar is how I'm fueling my body. And then the third is how I feel in my body. So if we go to number 1, how I'm moving my body, this is going to be consistent from what I've already been doing since January. So that's prioritizing 3 strength training workouts throughout the week. Now, if I have the energy or if I want to do more, sure, I can. But I'm always going to do at least the 3 priority workouts, which includes a lower body, upper body, and full body. And I'm doing this through the Ladder app. Huge fan. I've done other apps. Absolutely my favorite fitness app, and 10 out of 10 would recommend. In addition to that, I am going to continue getting 10,000 steps in. How I'm fueling my body, though, that could take some work, I'm sure. It's tricky because I'm not going to restrict myself. I don't want to restrict myself, but I think I could be more intentional on how I'm making this easy for myself. So what I mean by that is I'm going to focus on meal prepping. There have been days at work where surprisingly I've been really busy and I didn't have lunch packed and the cafeterias were closed. And so I had to opt for like some processed fast food, something. And if I packed my lunch, I wouldn't have been in that situation. Okay, and then the third, how I'm feeling in my body. This one's a bit trickier for me. And I'm not quite sure, if I'm being honest, how I'm going to achieve this. I have some ideas. One, starting to journal and starting to reflect on, maybe why I feel the way I feel or my insecurities, or just kind of getting out of my head. I'm also going to try maybe mantras in the morning as I'm getting ready. I've heard there's power that comes from that. And, when you say things out loud and when you do this over and over again, you begin to believe the words that you're saying and you're hearing, and it just becomes a part of you. So as of April 18th, 2026, I weigh 157.1 pounds. My fat percentage is 33.9. Fat mass is 53.2 pounds. Lean mass is 97.8 pounds. That's it. For the next 60 days, I'm going to be tracking my progress. My goal is to get to 150 pounds and a body fat percentage of around 31 to 32%, and ideally not lose any muscle mass throughout the process. I hope you stick around to see if I actually achieve it or not. And if you have any tips, I would certainly welcome your help. Just leave a comment down below. And if you made it this long in the video, thank you for watching. Bye!